Years after getting my degree in English literature, I still remain somewhat confused about the nature of poetry. On the one hand, poetry bends the rules of syntax and grammar, sometimes to the breaking point. On the other hand, classical poetic forms demand unyielding conformance to meter and rhyme. This appears paradoxical. The rigid structure imposed by such classical formats as sonnet, haiku, even limeric seem to inhibit the free-flowing creativity most often associated with verse. Don't they? In his book, Imagine, Jonah Lehrer argues that too much freedom granted through too little structure may actually impair our imaginations, allowing them to run wild and lose focus. Through strict adherence to the rules governing the placement of words, the poet has to search harder, compose with more deliberation, and prod his imaginative abilities to find the perfect word to fit the limiting space. In other words, less freedom inspires greater creativity. Whether in artistry or in business, when we're forced to work within the confines of structure, we can produce dazzling explosions of innovative genius. Jonah Lehrer sums it up this way: we break out of the box by stepping into shackles. And even if you're not a poet, the same principle applies in every aspect of your life. Freedom can only survive within a cultural structure limited by the conventions of the social contract, respect for the rules, and civil discourse. The absurdity of political anarchy is that by tearing down the restrictions imposed by authority, we end up trading the law of the land for the law of the jungle, where only the strong are free. Similarly, social anarchy tears down the structures that promote a healthy culture of civility and psychological well-being. On the flip side, it's pointless to follow the rules of poetic construction without adding the spice of creative license. To do so merely produces stilted and uninspiring drivel. So too, meticulous adherence to the letter of the law ends up subverting the intent of the law by exploiting loopholes and murdering common sense. That's the reason why we actually increase corruption when we attempt to legislate ethics. An ethical mindset requires a perpetual balancing act between respecting the letter of the law and intuiting the spirit of the law, between evaluating the vast gray area between what's legal and illegal while critiquing the morality of the law itself. This is true in society at large, in business, in education, in our communities, and in our families. Only when we take responsibility for keeping our moral compass well calibrated will we succeed in our relationships, in our commercial endeavors, and in society as a whole. Please like and comment on this video and share it with someone you know will appreciate its message. I'm Jonas Goldson. See you next time.